We just got done filming Off the Cuff earlier today, and one of the questions, or some of the questions you all had, were about Castle. I was already planning on doing a Castle 2026 video, an update as to where we are and what we might expect to see, so I figured I'd go ahead and film it now. So it might end up coming out before that Off the Cuff video, just depending on editing schedules and things like that. But in this video, I want to talk through a little bit about what we know is coming out in LEGO Castle, what is likely coming out in LEGO Castle based on rumors, solid rumors that we have, and then what we hope to maybe see with LEGO Castle coming out this year, and whether it's going to be as good of a year as we've had in prior years. You know, if we go back to really post-COVID 2020, 2021, we've had a pretty good run with Castle in terms of icons, ideas, and large sets. We haven't had such luck with system sets or play scale type sets that are focused on like the minifigs and really cultivating factions and developing some new factions, although there is some promise for that. So we're first going to dive into what we absolutely know is coming out. And the first one we know for sure is the Sea Serpent. This is a gift with purchase that's going to be coming out at some point this year. We don't know when, but we know it's coming out because it won an ideas contest as a gift with purchase. And if you take a look at the images of the Sea Serpent, you'll see that it very much does a good job of representing the 1990s Sea Serpent. It's definitely got some updated building techniques and parts usage, but it's going to do a very good job of replicating that. One of the key differences, though, of course, is the number of minifigs. If you look at the original Sea Serpent from the 1990s, there were 5 minifigs. The version that won the contest has 3. They seem to be decked out in chainmail for those Black Monarch Knights, and I would imagine those will get a reboot in terms of torso printing. So I would expect 2 to 3 minifigs in that. As for when it's going to come out, don't really know. I'm not entirely sure, but I hope it's going to be soon. As for what set it would come out with, if it's an exclusive gift with purchase, again, no idea, although my guess is this could be something that is a threshold type gift with purchase, or if there's maybe a large castle set coming out, but more on that in just a moment. In terms of other LEGO design sets, we are seeing some new rumors coming out regarding the Collectable minifig series. Last year, we of course had the brilliant Wolfpack Beastmaster that won Brickset's minifig of the year, but the season or series 28 minifigs, which were animal, costume based, didn't give us anything castle or fantasy related. Series 29 is coming out in May. We've seen a rumored list of what's going to be included in that, and there are 2 minifigs that stand out to me as being potentially interesting for those of us who are castle or medieval, or I'm stretching the definition here, to fantasy, because I think a lot of fantasy elements do combine well with medieval life. And the 2 minifigs that I'm seeing on that list are the Witch and the Elf. Now, the Elf I've seen a picture of. If it is a reputable source, this is, I think, a very cool figure. It's definitely not going to be castle medieval for those of you that are hoping that, but it is going to be more fantasy elf based. It's got a different toned green dress, light green mixed in there, very nicely printed torso and skirt. It's got a dual molded hair and diadem type piece that I think looks fantastic. It is a very, very good minifig. I'm not going to show images of it here. You can try to Google it and find it if you want to, because I don't want to violate any sort of copyright laws or anything like that LEGO is going to pursue the channel for. But having seen it, I think it's a very quality minifig for those of you who like fantasy. I have not seen the Witch minifig, so TBD as to whether or not that one is something that would line up well with fantasy or castle minifigs, but we'll find out more hopefully soon. In terms of other castle sets, we do know that we are getting 3, that's right, not 1, not 2, but 3 castle sets through the Bricklink Designer Program in 2026. We know this because all of the 15 Bricklink Designer sets have been announced, and there will be 3 pre-order windows. The first 5 sets will be available for pre-order on February 16th. The next 5 sets will be available for pre-order in June, and the final 5 sets will be available for pre-order in October. Now, in the February lineup, we have 1 castle set, and it is the Alchemist Shop, and this is definitely one that a lot of fans are excited about. And what I noticed in terms of the difference between the original submission and this one is the change in the minifigs, increase in number, and increase in what I would say to be quality of minifigs, because if you look at this one, it is definitely going to pique your curiosity if you enjoyed last year's brand new factions. So we are getting a Kraken Knight, we're getting a Griffin Knight, and we are getting a couple of Horse Knights. So those are going to be part of the new Alchemist's shop. This is a Bricklink Designer Program set available for pre-order on February 16th. In terms of price, it's going to be, I believe it's $200, and it has pretty solid parts count. I think it's 2,300 pieces for that. And if you're enjoying the medieval blacksmith shop from 2021 Ideas line, this one fits in very nicely with that in terms of scale and even some of the roof building techniques that are used for it. So this one is definitely on my list of sets that I'm hoping to get for that pre-order window. The second Bricklink Designer Program castle set that we are getting comes in June, and it is the Dustmark Keep. This is a massive set. It's got 4,000 pieces. While we don't know the price, it's probably going to run around $350 to $400 US, depending on just how many unique elements and the size of those elements. But it's a very, very large castle. And here's what I think is absolutely fascinating about this. I saw an interview with the head of the Bricklink Designer Program series on Brad's Archive channel, and I'll put a link to that video in the description down below. But the head of the BDP is Alex Kostalik, and he mentioned in his interview with Brad's Archive that the minifigs for the Dustmark Keep are not going to resemble those from the original submission. This is not a surprise, as LEGO has frequently changed up the number of minifigs by increasing them and the type of minifigs that we get for especially castle and medieval sets. In this one, it looks like we are going to be getting the new Serpent Knights that we got last year in the Medieval Horse Knights castle. So that's going to be the dominant faction instead of the merchants that we see in the submission. So that is a very, very interesting development for those of us who are into those factions we received last summer. And I'm hoping that we get multiple Serpent Knights or Snake Knights in that set. I think that'll be absolutely fantastic, and I'm excited to see the final rendition of that as we get closer to the pre-order window. Finally, we are getting one more of the castle sets in the Bricklink Designer Program series, and that is going to come in October for the pre-order window. And this one is going to be the Sleepy Dragon Inn. This one is a large set. It's actually about 3,000 pieces. It wouldn't shock me if this was about $250, $270 US. But this one does use the updated parts palette that we have available coming through the end of 2026. And that's going to include, you guessed it, more of those new factions, quite possibly. Now, we don't know the exact breakdown of the minifigs again, but the original submission did have some of the Kraken, Griffin, and I think some medieval Horse Knights in there as well. So there's definitely positivity if you are into the Bricklink Designer Program series, if you have the disposable income, and you are into the 2026 castle factions. Beyond that, though, we start running into some theories, and the theories run the gamut in terms of kind of crazy or maybe subtle hints here or there. For instance, if you take a look at the Medieval Horse Knights castle, there is another castle portrayed on the box. Now, this may not seem like much to anybody, but if you took a look at the medieval castle, or sorry, the dragon from last January, there was a castle on that box, and it looked a lot like what ended up becoming the Medieval Horse Knights castle. Now, both of those are in the Creator 3-in-1 line. I haven't heard any rumors about a new Creator castle coming out. I doubt LEGO would do something like that back-to-back years, but maybe it's some sort of Easter egg for another castle type set that would come out. In fact, if you took a look at the history of LEGO Icons Castle, 2022 we had the Lion Knights Castle, 2024 we had the Medieval Town Square, 2026 question mark. Will we get a large Icons type castle or medieval set this year? So far, I've heard no rumors about that being the case. However, I will point out some hope here, and that is we may not hear a lot of rumors about the summer and early fall releases, so June, July, August, September, until we get into February and March. We typically start seeing rumors in some cases about 6 months ahead, maybe 4 to 6 months out. I'll give you a good comparison for this. Last year for the Neuschwanstein architecture set, we actually received rumors going back to February for that set, which was an August release. It was around that time, I believe, we also received rumors about the Medieval Horse Knights castle and what that might include in it. So, in the next 4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks, we should have a pretty good idea if we are getting any sort of high-end icons level castle, or even a creator medieval oriented set sometime later in 2026. However, in the absence of those rumors, there's really not a lot else to go off of except for the occasional potential hint, like on the Medieval Horse Knights Castle, or on, I think it was step 500, page 500 of the Lion Knights Castle instruction manual, where it talks about Dragon Knights possibly invading the Lion Knights Castle, and that could be some sort of hint as to what the next big castle could be. I'm not quite so optimistic when it comes to that, but I am hopeful that we are getting something. Now, I do want to address the 4 factions that we received last year and whether or not we will get anything related to those in 2026 or beyond. And again, without a lot of rumors, it's hard to tell whether or not that will actually be something we see included in officially LEGO design sets and not just Bricklink Designer Program series sets. But I will note that if you are into those minifigs, check your pick and build online, wherever you are at, whichever country you live in, because some of those pieces have arrived on those websites for you to get. So you can go to lego.com in your country, identify the pick and build website, and look for those minifig pieces. You might be able to find them there if you are interested in building some sort of army for the Griffin Knights, the Horse Knights, the Kraken Knights, or even the Snake Knights. I'm not sure how much of them are all on the website for all of the markets, but it is something I've seen that is available in some markets. Beyond that, I would love to see, absolutely love to see some additional themed sets, whether it's an actual theme, castle medieval theme with those factions in them, giving them homes and side builds, or the equivalent of side builds and boats and keeps and things like that. I'm not optimistic that we're going to get that, unfortunately. I really wish we could. You know me, I love castle. It's my favorite theme. But ultimately, this is something that LEGO has made a conscious decision to not develop LEGO castle themes. That said, I'm going to keep my hopes up that we do have these factions, and LEGO hopefully will find some use for these wonderfully designed factions beyond including them in a $180 minifig vending machine and one creator 3-in-1 set. But we'll see. I don't know. What are you hoping for? What are you seeing? Are you hearing any additional rumors that I am not hearing? Put it down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and as always, remember to keep building together.